What if you booked a hotel room, checked in, and found yourself locked inside by something that wasn't quite human? Something that's been watching you long before you even entered. In 1958, a small, unassuming hotel in the heart of a bustling city became the site of an event that would haunt anyone who dares to stay there. Room 206, a simple room on the second floor, was thought to be nothing more than a place for weary travelers to rest. But it was far from ordinary. What happened there, over the course of several decades, still leaves investigators shaking their heads, unable to explain the terrifying truth. The room, it seemed, had a mind of its own. It was not a supernatural haunting. No, this was something far worse. Something hidden, manipulating, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal its true form. The first strange event occurred in 1963 when a young couple checked into room 206 for a quiet weekend. They left the hotel less than 48 hours later, both shaken and in complete disbelief, refusing to speak about what happened. Their only words, whispered through trembling lips, were, "It saw us before we saw it." For years, guests who stayed in room 206 experienced the same unnerving sensations, feeling as though they were being watched when no one was around, hearing whispers in the dead of night, and waking up to find their belongings rearranged in ways they hadn't left them. But it wasn't until the 1970s that the true horror of room 206 was fully revealed. A team of researchers, led by renowned paranormal investigator Sarah Cole, was called in after a series of bizarre disappearances. People had checked into the hotel but never checked out. All the missing had one thing in common: they'd stayed in room 206. There were no signs of struggle, no clues as to what happened. The only thing they had in common was the overwhelming feeling of dread that seemed to seep into their very souls during their time in that room. The team set up cameras, hoping to catch something. What they captured was chilling. There was no obvious figure or ghost, but on the footage, at precisely 3:03 a.m. every night, the temperature in the room would drop sharply. A cold, palpable chill that seemed to freeze the very air, making it difficult to breathe. And then, in the grainy footage, the shadow of a figure could be seen standing near the window, watching. The most disturbing part, the figure was not a human shape. It was something else entirely unseen, undefined, but unmistakably present. The footage left Sarah Cole and her team terrified. The presence in the room was more than just a ghost. It was something older, something that existed before the hotel, before the land it sat on. The hotel had been built on the site of an ancient burial ground, but what lay buried there had never been disclosed to the public. As the investigation deepened, the team uncovered a series of unsettling historical facts. In the 1800s, the land had been used by a group of settlers who, according to local records, had mysteriously disappeared without a trace. No one could explain it until now. The presence in room 206 seemed to be a remnant of that long-forgotten tragedy. It wasn't a haunting in the traditional sense. It was something far worse, a parasitic force that fed on fear, that lived through the terror it caused. Those who stayed in the room were not just haunted. They were slowly being consumed, their minds breaking piece by piece. By the time Sarah Cole and her team realized this, it was too late. The hotel closed down in 1978 after a sudden fire destroyed a portion of the building. The investigation into the fire revealed no cause, but what the authorities failed to report were the gruesome remains found in the ashes. No bodies, only burnt clothing and personal items from past guests. No one dared to question further. Since then, room 206 has remained locked, the hotel abandoned, but people still talk about it. The reports of strange lights flickering from the second floor late at night, The odd, inexplicable sounds carried on the wind. Most disturbingly, the accounts of people who swear they've seen a figure tall, thin, and covered in shadow standing in the window, waiting for the next victim. It's not just a ghost, not a mere haunting. What's in room 206 is something far older, far darker than we could ever comprehend. And it's not done yet. What if the worst part of it all is that you one day even know it, Esther, until it's already inside you?